find what you're looking for?
Yeah. And now we need to kill it.
Microsoft's Xbox brand continues to struggle this generation, with Xbox Series X and S exclusives repeatedly failing to hit target sales figures and shining review scores, and the technology giant is once again finding itself in a rock and a hard place. The current state of Xbox's roster of first-party studios is disheartening to say the least, and desperate measures have been taken, such as the recent shuttering of promising studios like Arkane Austin of Redfall fame and Tango Gameworks that developed the excellent Hi-Fi Rush. While these might come off as a surprising move for anyone unfamiliar with the history of Xbox, those who have been following the brand for generations would find it pretty easy to make out repeating patterns. Rare was one of the most expensive purchases that Microsoft made back in the day, and the team that was once behind the defining hits of the 90s struggled and released mediocre sequels, eventually leading to it being tasked to create gimmicky Kinect games and nostalgia throwbacks like Rare Replay. But Xbox wasn't always like that. It was also once a driving factor that helped shape the current state of console gaming as we know it. The original Xbox was a pioneer in the realm of online gaming, and games like Halo 2 pushed the boundaries of the genre in more ways than one.
Sir, permission to leave the station.
For what purpose, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bomb.
Permission granted.
It was a golden period when Xbox took charge of innovation, and despite major setbacks, including but not limited to the infamous Red Ring of Death in the case of the Xbox 360, Microsoft always managed to jump back and create some tough competition for competitors like Sony and Nintendo. Despite the disheartening de-evolution of Rare, Microsoft made some pretty great efforts to solidify its library of first-party games during the Xbox 360 generation. Not only did Halo 3 rule the realm of online gaming, but new IPs like Gears of War and Forza Horizon expanded Xbox's portfolio of games by a significant margin. However, it's safe to say that Xbox has lost much of that charm in the following years, and it continues to make one questionable decision after another. Xbox One severely lacked in terms of exclusives throughout the generation, and while the Xbox One X and the introduction of Game Pass felt like a saving grace, it arrived too late in the generation to save Xbox's sinking ship. Microsoft's rapid spree of acquisitions of gaming giants like ZeniMax and Activision were exciting decisions that could have very well turned the fates around this generation, but there hasn't been much progress to say the least. To be honest, we have received games like Starfield and Hi-Fi Rush from reputed developers, but these games fell short of expectations, either from a critical standpoint or a commercial one, leading to disappointments on some level.
Look on the bright side, dear. Just imagine the papers you'll publish.
If anyone even believes this.
It's been a long time since we have been waiting on Xbox's promises of things finally coming to shape, and when we get a flicker of hope like the surprise hit that was a Hi-Fi Rush, Microsoft's questionable decisions like the shuttering of Tango Gameworks hits like a freight train that shatters those hopes in an instant. Despite what current Xbox head Phil Spencer's statements and policies might make things seem, it seems pretty evident that Microsoft isn't really willing to put in the effort to do things right. Not only that, but Microsoft isn't shy to cut down on costs if the investments don't end up yielding tangible results. Games can cost a fortune to make, and sometimes games that don't appeal to the largest demographic, as was the case with Hi-Fi Rush, ought to be appreciated on their own terms without using sales figures as the sole metric of success, which is something that Xbox doesn't seem to have a grasp on.
I'm proud to be a member of the Vandelay family.
So I would never say that.
Well, that's the point. I'm controlling you.
It's honestly a testament to Tango Gameworks' talent that it was able to create something so out of its comfort zone and do it with such polish the first time around. And the reward for doing such exceptional work is the studio being closed in a prompt fashion. What's more baffling here is that these are the studios that Xbox desperately needed to diversify its portfolio of first-party games, which are currently limited to first-person shooters and racers. In addition to this, such moves also paint a really depressing picture for studios like Double Fine of Psychonauts 2 fame, which is another extremely polished game that never sold tens of millions in sales or brought a consistent revenue stream through a live service component. The same could be said about a studio like Ninja Theory, which is currently rounding up work on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, where the majority of its sales and engagement would likely come from Game Pass instead of retail sales due to its single-player narrative-driven structure. As someone who has been pretty optimistic about Xbox as a brand, the current stance of Microsoft makes me quite sad. There's a very evident gap between what Xbox wants to be and the moves it's currently making to achieve that vision. With Xbox Game Pass and a wide array of immensely talented studios, Xbox has the potential to be an absolute powerhouse with one of the most diverse portfolios of first-party games, ranging from shooters to platformers to horror and, well, everything in between. But because it's not either letting the studios do what they do best, or because it continues to expect an extremely unlikely outcome with its games, Xbox continues to make one bad decision after another. You see, Xbox can afford to create experimental games like Hi-Fi Rush, or narrative-driven blockbusters like Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and use Xbox Game Pass to drive revenue through engagement instead of pure retail sales. It seems that the developer has cracked the right formula for success, and Microsoft's immensely deep pockets can ensure a safety net for the occasional loss that might eventually turn into a surefire success. Conversely, it's also possible that Xbox might have gone a tad bit too overboard with its Xbox Game Pass business plans, and the revenue model might not be bearing enough fruit for the investment that the company has put in. The recent closure of studios could very well be a desperate effort to cut back on losses, but if that's the case, Xbox needs to take a step back and chart a viable path for its future. It's very clear that Xbox doesn't have much time left, and there are only so many mistakes a brand can make before it permanently loses its credibility in the eyes of consumers. Despite the negative tonality of this feature, I do want Microsoft to succeed and continue to push its agenda of accessible gaming through its policies like smart delivery and Game Pass without extorting such a gruesome penalty on its developers. All in all, Xbox needs to make some strong moves and do them quickly if it wishes to course correct, and I am latching on to the faintest hopes that it ends up doing that for nothing but its own good. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.